Right now, 7 inches of snow is about to bury New York City. But here's what nobody's telling you about who gets hit and who walks away clean. In the next 30 seconds, I'm going to show you the exact snow map that meteorologists are arguing about this morning. The kind of map that could mean the difference between a white wonderland and a total mess. Stay with me. 7 inches. That's the official forecast for New York City. When's the last time you heard that? It's been years. And get this, some computer models are screaming 12 inches. Others, they're saying this whole thing falls apart. Someone's about to be very, very wrong. Here's your reward for sticking around. At minute 5, I'll show you the bizarre pattern that's locking brutal cold over Western Canada, cold that's about to break loose and come straight for the eastern United States. The kind of cold we haven't seen in a long time. But first, let's talk about what's happening right this second. Winter storm watches are up across Pennsylvania. Not advisories, watches. That means meteorologists are concerned enough to wake up early on Christmas morning and warn you. Think about that for a second. The upper Midwest, already getting slammed. Winter weather advisories stretch from Michigan all the way back to the Dakotas. We're talking about a system that's massive. Coast to coast, when was the last time you saw something this big? And California? Don't even get me started. Flood warnings, flash flood warnings, winter storm warnings, all at the same time. Mudslides are tearing through Southern California neighborhoods, rock slides blocking highways, and in the mountains, they're getting buried under feet of new snow on top of what they already have. Here's a number that'll shock you. Over 30 states are experiencing above-average temperatures right now. 30. Christmas Eve felt like spring across the South and East. People were riding bikes in short sleeves. In December, that's not normal, and it's about to change fast. Want to know something wild? The snow falling in the Sierra Nevada right now is actually good news for ski resorts. They've been suffering through one of the worst starts to winter anyone can remember. Finally, they're getting relief. But it comes with a price. That same storm system is devastating communities just down the mountain. Let me paint you a picture. New York City Metro, Long Island, southwestern Connecticut, all under winter storm watches. Not the whole island, just specific zones. Why? Because this storm is playing games with us. It knows exactly where to draw the line between snow and rain. Pennsylvania is where things get tricky, real tricky. Around Harrisburg, Philadelphia, State College, Pittsburgh, you might start with a mix. Ice, sleet, snow, rain, all jumbled together. That's the worst kind of winter weather. You can't prepare for it. You can't predict it. It just is. Here's what keeps meteorologists up at night. Precipitation-type issues. Sounds technical, right? But here's what it really means. The difference between 6 inches of snow and a quarter inch of ice could be just 5 miles. Your neighbor gets a snow day. You get a power outage. Up in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, Wisconsin, Minnesota, all the way to Fargo and the Canadian border, they're under winter weather advisories. These folks know winter. When they issue advisories, you listen. They're not crying wolf. Northern Montana is dealing with ice. On Christmas Day, freezing rain coating everything. Trees, power lines, roads. It's the silent storm that causes the most damage. You don't see it coming until it's too late. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Remember that promise I made about the cold locked over Western Canada? Take a look at what's brewing up there. Temperatures way, way below average. Not just a little cold, historic cold. The kind that makes headlines. And it's sitting there, waiting, like water behind a dam. Eventually, that dam breaks. The pattern is setting up perfectly to bring that Arctic blast south. Not next week, not next month. We're talking early January into February. The models are showing something meteorologists call a northwest flow. Cold air pouring down from Canada like a waterfall. But here's the twist nobody's talking about. While the east is about to freeze, the central United States stays warm. The plains, the Rockies, they're not getting the relief they desperately need. Colorado ski resorts are praying for snow. They're getting scraps. You want a shocking number? Colorado has been so dry this year that some ski resorts look more like hiking trails than winter wonderlands. Videos coming out of there are depressing. brown slopes with artificial snow struggling to cover the ground. That's not what December should look like in the Rockies. They will get some snow over the next couple days, maybe a foot in the high country. But then, high pressure sets up, the ridge builds, and they dry out again. It's heartbreaking if you love winter sports. Meanwhile, back east, temperatures are about to crash. Not gradually, not gently. We're talking about a nosedive. Tuesday morning, parts of Wisconsin wake up to temperatures near or below 0 degrees Fahrenheit. After weeks of warmth, that's a shock to the system. The high temperature on Tuesday across much of the Midwest? Low 20s. That's not a typo. From 60s and 70s down to 20s in just a few days. Your body doesn't adjust to that. Your car doesn't like it. Your heating bill definitely doesn't like it. Florida, listen up. North Florida is going to see freezing temperatures, overnight lows in the 30s, maybe even upper 20s in some spots. When was the last time you had to cover your plants on New Year's Eve? This could be it. The cold pushes all the way to the Gulf Coast, all the way to the Atlantic coast. It's been months since we've seen a pattern like this. Some folks have forgotten what real winter feels like. They're about to remember. Now let's get back to that snow headed for New York City, because this is where it gets really interesting. The National Weather Service is calling for 7 inches in New York City proper. 7 inches. Let me spell that out. S-E-V-E-N inches. When meteorologists put their name on a forecast like that, they're confident. But should they be? Here's the problem. Different computer models are telling completely different stories. The European model says big snow, heavy snow, the kind that shuts down a city. The GFS model? It's crushing New York with a foot of snow, 12 inches. But then there's the NAM model. It's doing something weird, something that makes meteorologists scratch their heads and go, what in the world is happening here? The NAM is showing the storm sliding away, barely clipping the city. That's called bust potential. Bust potential means someone's going to be wrong, really wrong. Either New York gets buried and nobody planned for it, or they cancel everything for a storm that never shows up. Both scenarios are bad. Northern New Jersey is looking at similar numbers, 6+ inches, maybe 7. The official forecast maps show this big purple blob covering the whole area. Purple means significant snow, the kind you measure with a ruler, not a thermometer. But drive south and west into New Jersey, those numbers drop fast. Trenton might see the forecast cut in half as the system switches to sleet. Newark could get hammered or could get nothing, depending on where that mixing line sets up. Connecticut is split. Southwest Connecticut, places like Danbury, looking at 3 to 5 inches. Solid snow. But get up towards Poughkeepsie in New York, and those numbers jump. Why? Elevation, cold air damming, atmospheric rivers of moisture. It's complicated, but the result is simple. Some towns get walloped, others get a dusting. Here's a number that should concern you. 0.3 of an inch of ice. That's the forecast for the mountains of Pennsylvania and western Maryland. Doesn't sound like much, does it? Let me tell you what 0.3 of ice means. That's enough to snap tree branches, enough to bring down power lines, enough to cause outages that last days, not hours. When you're sitting in the dark on December 26th, 0.3 doesn't sound so small anymore. The blended model data, that's when they take all the computer forecasts and average them together, shows a more moderate snow total, maybe 4 to 6 inches instead of 7. But here's the thing, blended doesn't mean correct. It just means middle ground. Last night, the short-range models went crazy. 1 minute showing a monster storm, the next showing barely anything. That's not how you want your forecast to behave 24 hours before impact. New York doesn't have winter storm warnings yet. Just watches. Watches mean conditions are favorable. Warnings mean it's happening. Until those watches upgrade, there's still a chance this whole thing falls apart. Meteorologists are hedging their bets. Want to know what I find fascinating? The temperature forecast. Christmas Day, warm across the West. But here's where it gets wild. Ohio is going to see 60s. The 60s. In late December, that's shorts weather. That's grilling weather. That's not Christmas weather. The Northeast stays colder, sure, the Great Lakes region too, but across the South, warm air squeezes north through the Ohio Valley into the Midwest. It's like summer is making one last stand before winter takes over. Then Tuesday hits, low temperatures near or below zero in Wisconsin, highs struggling to reach the 20s across wide areas, 30s and 40s all the way down into the south by Tuesday afternoon. That's a temperature crash of epic proportions. Think about what your body goes through. One day you're in a t-shirt. 3 days later, you need 3 layers and a heavy coat. Your immune system hates that. Cold and flu season loves it. Now here's where I need you to pay close attention, because what happens in January and February might surprise you. The weekly forecast models, these are the ones that look weeks ahead, are showing something really interesting. Colder temperatures heading into January and February. Colder than what we've seen so far this winter. I'm not saying non-stop cold. We're going to see rebounds, warm spells mixed in. That's just how modern winters work. But the overall pattern? Trending colder, especially in the east. These are 7-day height anomaly maps. Sounds complicated, but here's what it shows. The pattern of ridges and troughs, high pressure and low pressure, where the cold air sits and where the warm air builds. Once we get into next week, into early January, things shift. Much colder. You get a northwest flow, Arctic air spinning down from Canada. The polar vortex sets up shop and starts pumping cold air south in waves. Here's the part that gets me excited. That cold air locked over Western Canada right now, it's not staying there. It can't. Eventually, physics wins. That cold has to move, and when it does, it's coming east. If that cold air wasn't sitting up there, I'd throw in the towel. I'd say this winter is a bust. But it is there. Massive amounts of it. Just waiting for the right pattern to unlock it and send it our way. The European ensemble models, these are like running the forecast 50 times to see what's most likely, are showing cold in the east around January 22nd, 7 days of below average temperatures, not just a day or two. A full week. The central U.S. stays warm. That's the frustrating part. The drought continues, the snowpack stays low. But the east gets hammered with cold. By February, things might shift again. A little warmer across Alaska and the Northwest Territories. You know what that could mean? Even colder air diving south into the lower 48. When Alaska warms up, we often cool down. It's counterintuitive, but it's how the pattern works. February's 7-day averages are looking colder in the east. A little colder in the west, too. Not massive changes, but a trend, a signal, something to watch. Here's what I want you to understand. These long-range forecasts aren't perfect. I might be wrong. The models might be wrong. We're looking weeks and months ahead. But the trends matter. And the trends right now point toward a colder finish to winter than we've had at the start. Winter officially started just a few days ago. Meteorological winter, that's December 1st. Astronomical winter, that's the solstice around December 21st. Either way, we're still in the early innings. There's a lot of winter left. The central U.S. stays warm in these forecasts. That's tough for ski resorts, tough for water supplies, tough for anyone hoping for a traditional winter. But it's what the pattern is showing. Here's something to think about. The same storm system that's bringing snow to New York is bringing rain to parts of the mid-Atlantic. Just a few degrees difference in temperature. Just a slightly different track. That's all it takes. Weather is chaos. Beautiful, predictable chaos. We have computer models that cost millions of dollars, satellites watching from space, radar networks covering every inch of the country, and we still can't tell you with 100% certainty if you're getting 7 inches or 7/10. That's humbling, but it's also exciting. Every storm is a puzzle. Every forecast is a challenge. And when you get it right, when you nail the forecast and help people prepare, that's the reward. So what should you do with all this information? If you're in the Northeast, especially New York City, northern New Jersey, southwestern Connecticut, take those winter storm watches seriously. 7 inches of snow is no joke. Even if it ends up being 4 or 5, that's still significant. Stock up on essentials. Not because the world is ending, but because why make your life harder? Get the milk, the bread, whatever you need. Make sure your snow shovel is ready. Check your car's antifreeze. Basic preparation. If you're in Pennsylvania, be ready for ice. That mixed precipitation is dangerous, more dangerous than pure snow. Ice doesn't give you traction. It doesn't melt easily. It's sneaky and it's mean. For those in the Midwest and South enjoying warm weather right now, savor it, because cold is coming. Not today, not tomorrow, but soon. By Tuesday, you'll be reaching for sweaters you forgot you owned. California, you're dealing with a different beast entirely. Flooding and snow at the same time, mudslides and rock slides, that's a dangerous combination. If officials tell you to evacuate, listen, your house can be rebuilt. You can't. The ski resort's getting snow right now in the Sierra, in the Rockies. Enjoy it. Bank that snow. Pack it down, because dry spells are coming. High-pressure ridges that shut off the storm track. You need every flake you can get. Florida and the Gulf Coast, freezing temperatures might seem like no big deal to folks up north, but you're not built for it. Your infrastructure isn't designed for hard freezes. Protect your pipes, cover your plants. Take it seriously. Now here's what I want you to watch for over the next few days. Will those winter storm watches in New York upgrade to warnings? That's your signal that meteorologists are confident. Warnings mean take action. Watches mean be ready. How do the computer models trend? Do they come together on one solution or keep showing different outcomes? Agreement means confidence. Disagreement means uncertainty. Where does that mixing line set up in Pennsylvania and New Jersey? That's the million-dollar question. A few miles north or south changes everything. And looking ahead, watch for signs that Canadian cold is breaking loose. When you see temperatures in Western Canada start to moderate, that means the cold is going somewhere. And that somewhere is usually here. The pattern we're in right now, warm in the central US, active in California, cold building in Canada, that's not sustainable. Something has to give. When it does, we'll see changes, big changes. January is typically our coldest month. Statistically, historically, January brings the deep freezes, the ice storms, the biggest snows. We're heading into prime winter weather season. February can be cold too, but it's also when we start to see the first hints of spring. The sun angle changes, days get longer, cold air masses don't last as long. So the window for true winter weather is actually pretty narrow. This is why the next 6 weeks matter so much. If you love winter weather, if you love snow, this is your season. After mid-February, your chances drop significantly. The calendar works against you. For those who can't stand cold and snow, I get it. Just remember, we need this. We need the snowpack in the mountains. We need the moisture in the soil. We need winter to do its work so spring can follow. California's drought issues, Colorado's ski resort struggles, these are real problems. Climate patterns shift. Some years are wet, some are dry. We're in a dry pattern out west. That's tough. But here's the beautiful thing about weather. It always changes. Always. No pattern lasts forever. No drought is permanent. No heat wave goes on indefinitely. Change is the only constant. So, when I look at these long-range models showing cold in January and February, I see possibility. Possibility for snow lovers, possibility for ski resorts, possibility for more normal winter weather patterns. The 7-day forecasts are good out to about 3 days. Pretty accurate. Days 4 through 7, accuracy drops. Days 8 through 14, you're looking at trends more than specifics. Beyond 2 weeks, you're looking at probabilities and patterns, not certainty. But those patterns matter. They tell us something. They show us where the atmosphere wants to go. And right now, it wants to go colder in the east. One more thing I want to emphasize. This storm heading for New York, it's not just about snow totals. It's about timing. If this hits during rush hour, if it hits when people are traveling, it's much worse than the same storm overnight. It's about temperature too. Is the snow dry and fluffy or wet and heavy? Dry snow is easier to shovel. Wet snow breaks your back and weighs down tree branches and power lines. It's about wind. Is this a quiet snow or a blizzard with wind gusts? Wind changes everything. Visibility drops, drifting makes roads impassable, wind chill becomes life-threatening. All these factors matter. All of them. A 6-inch snowfall can be a non-event or a disaster depending on the details. This is why meteorology is so fascinating, so challenging, so important. The devil is always in the details. As we wrap up here, I want you to remember a few key things. 7 inches of snow possible in New York City. Winter storm watches are up. This is real. This is happening. Prepare accordingly. California is getting hammered by floods and snow simultaneously. If you're there, stay safe. Listen to officials. Brutal cold is locked over Western Canada. It will eventually come south. When it does, the East gets hit hardest. January into February looks colder than December has been. The central U.S. stays warm and dry. Tough news for drought areas and ski resorts. Temperature swings are coming. Warm to cold in just days. Your body needs time to adjust. Dress in layers. Stay hydrated. Take care of yourself. Long-range forecasts show trends, not certainties. But the trends matter. They guide our expectations. They help us prepare mentally for what's ahead. And here's the big picture. Weather connects us all. The storm in California affects the pattern in New York. The cold in Canada determines our temperature in Texas. It's all connected. One big, beautiful, intricate system. We're blessed to live in a time when we can see these patterns, when we can track storms days in advance, when we can prepare and adapt. Previous generations didn't have that luxury. So use the information wisely. Prepare, but don't panic. Stay informed, but don't obsess. Weather is important, but it's not everything. And remember, after every winter comes spring. After every storm comes sunshine. After every cold snap comes warmth. That's the promise built into creation. That's the rhythm of seasons. That's the faithfulness we can count on. The same power that set the seasons in motion, that commands the snow and directs the wind, that same power sustains you, knows your needs, provides for you day by day. So whether you're facing 7 inches of snow or 70-degree sunshine, whether you're dealing with ice or floods or perfect weather, trust the bigger picture. Trust that there's order in the chaos. Stay safe out there. Watch the forecast. Prepare your homes. Check on your neighbors, especially the elderly. Share information with friends and family. We're all in this together. Winter is here. Real winter. The kind with consequences. The kind that demands respect. But it's also beautiful. Awe-inspiring. A reminder that nature is powerful and we are small. Embrace it. Prepare for it. Respect it. And if you're lucky enough to see that snow fall in New York City, take a moment to appreciate it. Because moments like these, they don't come often. The next few days will tell us a lot. Storm tracks will become clear. Model forecasts will converge or stay scattered. We'll know soon enough who gets buried and who dodges the bullet. But beyond this storm, beyond this week, watch that pattern shift in January. Watch temperatures drop. Watch winter finally arrive in full force. It's going to be quite a ride. Bundle up, stay warm, and pay attention. Because weather waits for no one. It's coming, whether we're ready or not. Might as well be ready. Now don't miss what's coming next. In our next discussion, I'll break down exactly what happens when that Canadian cold finally breaks loose. The timing, the temperatures, the cities that get hit hardest. You'll want to see those maps. They're eye-opening. Until then, stay safe, stay warm, and keep watching the skies.